Hey there, gamers! I'm Probably Senpai, and today we're going to be taking a look at Disney Dreamlight Valley's newest premium house, the Mushroom Manor. This adorable mushroom cottage has created quite the buzz among the Dreamlight Valley community, as various builds and designs have been springing up across Reddit threads and Discord servers. In today's video, we'll be exploring some of these amazing builds and discussing the various ways players across the world have showcased this one-of-a-kind new home. Before we get started, I'd like to mention that I'm a small full-time content creator, so pressing the like button on this video can make a huge difference for me. Consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you'd like to enjoy Dreamlight Valley live with friends, consider joining my Twitch channel. I'll leave the link below in the video description. And with that, let's get started. So today we're going to be taking a look at 5 incredible Mushroom Manor builds that I've discovered on Reddit and Discord. Of course, I had to wear my mushroom shirt today. I had to wear my little mushroom button up because it just fits the theme. I'm excited to show you guys these builds. Maybe that'll help people draw like inspiration. And the Mushroom Manor has just quickly become a huge fan favorite of the community. A lot of the people I've seen talking about the Mushroom Manor have said it is their favorite premium house to date. And with good reason. It's really cute, it's really fun, and there are some really exciting builds that you can do with the Mushroom Manor. One of my favorites that we'll be showing today will be the last one I show, and it's this beautiful fairy build somebody did in the Glade. I love it so much. Not that the other builds aren't incredibly well done, but that was just my personal favorite. I'm not saying it's better than the others. I'm just saying like that one just like rocked my world. I was like, oh my God, that's gorgeous. At the end of all this, like once I show you guys all of these builds, I'll show you what we did with our Mushroom Manor. I had a lot of fun experimenting with it, and I knew I wanted to put it in the meadow, but my meadow has my dream garden and it was so full, so I ended up redoing my whole like orchard or like fruit zone. But I'm really happy with what we came up with, so hopefully you guys will enjoy my build as well as these amazing builds we'll be sharing on today's video. So with that, let's take a look at our first incredible build. All right, so this is the first of the 5 builds we're going to be looking at. This one was uploaded by NewName01 just one day ago. As you can see, it has 97 upvotes and 23 comments. People really like this build, and I just want to talk about what they've done. They've actually got their Mushroom Manor in this exact same place that I have mine. I feel like it's a great spot for it. I think the reason a lot of people went with the meadow on some of these builds is because the grass just matches the meadow grass perfectly, but a lot of people like the Glade because the Glade spawns mushrooms. So most of the builds I've seen so far have been either in the meadow or the Glade. Both are great options when it comes to, you know, the overall design of this Mushroom Manor. So the first one we're gonna be looking at today, they have so much like lush greenery, trees, and I just love that they actually added these little butterflies. Like these are like After Effects, like graphics that they put on it. But of course it works because, you know, there are butterflies buzzing around the meadow. So this is definitely fitting. They put their little watermark here, their new name tag. I really like this vibe they have here. It's almost like a cottagecore. We see some of the Japanese maples here for the red. We see a lot of the meadow bushes, and there's a lot of flowers here too. They used a lot of the flowers from the Forgotten Lands, which I just love these flowers in particular. And if we look back, they're using a lot of the hanging lanterns as well, which I think just work really well. When those are lit up, they actually have these like little sparkles that kind of go around them, which gives it more of like a magical allure or look. So I just really, really like the build. We're gonna open this up and get a closer look at it. This is a little bit better of a look at it. This is a lot more expanded. We could see that they did a lot with the path rocks right here, and it looks like they used the leaf strewn path right here, but not the bordered one, which gives it more of a natural feel when you don't use the bordered one. I see some of the rock clusters leading up to it, and that just looks really good because if you've taken a close look at the Mushroom Manor, you know, it has that like brown pathway, like once you get through the little fence that goes around it. Now we see a lot of bushes, a lot of flowers, and it's just a really beautiful shot. I love how it looks like it's tucked away in the back of like a magical forest. I would just absolutely love to see more angles of this, and I would love to see how this looks at night. Now, I think New Name here has a YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken, because I looked up a lot of these creators and was seeing if I can find more shots or images of their work. And I think New Name might have just uploaded their very first video to YouTube, which is them doing this build. So if you want to see this build, check out New Name on YouTube and you can see how they put this all together. And you'll also get a chance to see way more detail as far as, you know, what's placed where and how it looks like behind these trees. You'll get a much better better look at it. One of the other builds we'll be looking at today, they actually tucked a little cozy companion home back there in their build. And their build, I think, is in the same spot. I think a lot of people are using this spot. I use this spot. New Name used this spot, and one of the other creators we'll be looking at, I believe, also used this spot. And if you're not sure exactly where this is that little cutaway in the meadow that's close to the Glade of Trust. But anyway, like I said, if you want to get a closer look at this, check out New Name on YouTube and take a look at their build video for this beautiful build. And with that, let's take a look at our next Mushroom Manor design. All right, now we're gonna take a look at our second build of the day, and this one comes from Cozy W Jazz. Cozy Jazz also has their own YouTube channel, and if you wanna check that out, feel free. They have a beautiful Mushroom Manor build here. I do believe this one is also in the meadow. I love this one. It has very much like a cottagecore type vibe. Like, I feel like a lot of the Mushroom Manors will have this kind of cottagecore vibe, and I do see they have a little, this is the one I was talking about with the cozy companion home in it, so we could see the cozy companion home here. Now, I don't see any little critters around. Maybe they didn't set any just yet for this photo, or maybe they're just out of frame. I do love that they have this here. I wonder what critters they're gonna have running around in this area, because there are some really cool options for that. Let's expand this and take a closer look at it, because this is a beautiful, beautiful build. When Cozy Jazz submitted this one, Cozy Jazz actually has two photos here for us to look at. It gives us two separate angles, which is really nice. I'm sure Cozy Jazz has a video of this up on her YouTube channel as well, so if you want to check that out, I think I'm just going to go ahead and link all of the creators. If they have a YouTube channel, I'm going to link them down in the video description as well, so if you want to check out their content, that way it'll be an easy way for you to get to them. You won't have to go searching them or worrying about that. Anyway, the first one we looked at, I don't think they had a filter on it, but this one definitely does. Everything looks really crisp, and they're still going with, you know, a beautiful fall decor here. We see the pumpkins out in front of the house here, this little pumpkin stack. I love that they're using a nice mix of bushes. We have some like yellow bushes, some red bushes. There's another pumpkin stack here, a little outhouse with some stones leading up to it. They have a little crate here, a little flower sign, which is adorable. We can see the archway with the lights here that we got from Fairy Godmother on the far left-hand side here. And we have some of the white picket fence, which I think goes really good with the Mushroom Manor since it has its own little white fence around it. I also like that they have this dried bush. Kind of goes with the fall season. Like, you know, you have things turning yellow and red, and then you have some things losing their leaves altogether. So the fact that they use some of these scraggly bushes back here is just a really, really nice touch. We even have a little jack-o'-lantern down here at the bottom, and I love that they have these empty flower pots right here as well. Let me hide myself so you guys can get a look at everything on the right side here. All right, there we go. Now you can see everything on the right side as well. We have a little red bench behind the tree here, and these maples look so good up in the front. There's this little red bench behind the maple, just like a little pet area, which is super fun. And then we have the trellis arch back here, and there's also the yellow bicycle with the flower basket behind the cozy companion home. We have another trellis here, not the trellis arch, and we have the hanging lantern. I use these lanterns in my build too, and they have them in the front path here too when you come in. So I think a lot of people are going to be using these hanging lanterns for this build outdoors because they just work so well for it. They're super magical. If you've seen them at night, they have these like little sparkles around them. They're great. I also love on the right hand side, Cozy Jazz put this little tree trunk here, or is it a tree trunk or just like a big branch or a log? I guess I'll just call it a log. But yeah, I know you can sit on those little things. So it's like you have the bench, you have that little log to sit on, and then we also have the little pumpkin collection here on the far right-hand side. Some more colors from different bushes here. We got some red bushes here. But overall, this is just an absolutely beautiful build for the Mushroom Manor. Thankfully, they caught two angles, so let's take a look at the second one. All right, so here's our second angle. We're a little bit to the left looking at it now, which is nice because it gives us an opportunity to see a little bit more of the build. We can see that white picket fence actually goes a little bit further. So we saw it in that first photo on the right-hand side, but now we can see it wraps around here. So this whole cottage, this whole manor has like its own little sectioned off yard, which is just like overgrown with greenery and bushes and flowers and stones. It's so, so beautiful. And I think that's one thing people are super excited about with this premium house, because it just fits so well in a cottagecore or nature-driven build. And that's one of the most beautiful things you can do in Dreamlight Valley is use the landscaping tools. And another great thing about that is, even if you're a newer player, you're gonna have access to most of the stuff you see here. Now, of course, you know, you might not have like the pumpkin stacks in some cases, or the jack-o'-lantern. But as far as the hanging lanterns that we see here and all of the bushes, those hanging lanterns can be crafted pretty early in the game. And all of the bushes, all of the grass, like we have this grass right here, just adding a lot more texture. There's some tall grass here, there's some tall grass here, and some tall grass over here on the right-hand side. All of that stuff you have access to in your landscaping menu, so you'll be able to play around with a lot of these things as well if you want to do a similar build. We see leading up into the build here, if you look at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, they are using the bordered asphalt path. Cozy Jazz did an amazing job with this build. And like I said, if you want to check out Cozy Jazz, I will have their channel linked in the video description. All right, and with that, we're going to be moving on to our third build. And this next build is the first one we're going to be looking at from the Glade of Trust. Okay, so the next Mushroom Manor build we're going to be looking at is our first Glade of Trust build. And this one was done by Unhappy Belt 821 on Reddit. One thing I really like that they did here is they put it in the glade. And one of the reasons I didn't want to put mine in the glade is that the grass around the Mushroom Manor is this bright green that matches the grass in the meadow. So I felt like putting it in the glade might be a little tricky because the area around the Mushroom Manor is going to be a different color than everything around it. But what I like about what Unhappy Belt here did was they fixed that problem by adding some greenery that matches the color of the home, and that's why I wanted to highlight this one. That way, if you're thinking about putting your Mushroom Manor in the glade and you don't want it to feel too out of place, there are ways to work around that. Taking a closer look at what they've done here, if you look in the backdrop here, now of course in the front you can see that dark green grass that we have in the Glade of Trust. And if you look at the grass around the Mushroom Manor, it's that light green. So the way this player worked around fixing that is that they used a lot of the muddy path. We have the bordered muddy path leading up to it, so it's not going to be surrounded by that darker grass. And instead, they surrounded it with a lot of these very lush green, vibrant bushes and trees. We have the maples, which have that same shade of green, and we have these dwarf bushes with that same shade of green as well. And you can tell they scattered these like all about around the build. So when you get across this pathway where you have like the darker vegetation, you walk up towards the Mushroom Manor, and it almost looks like the Mushroom Manor has like its own magical essence because everything around it is just this brighter, happier, cozier vibe. That's why I wanted to show this one, because I know when I was talking about my Mushroom Manor build, I avoided the glade because of the color difference. But this is such a great creative way to work around that. So if any of you guys are wanting to put it in your glade and you feel like it stands out too much, there's a fun way to mitigate that. And I think Unhappy Belt highlighted that very well in this presentation. So now that we've taken a look at this one, we're going to be moving on to our next Mushroom Manor build, but this one is very different because we're not going to be looking at the outside of the manor. This next build will be looking at the inside of the manor. All right, so this is the next build we're going to be looking at. Awkward Whims shared this to the Disney Dreamlight Valley Discord server. And as you can see here, she said, a little apartment for a hobbit in the Mushroom Manor. Now, I couldn't find any images from the outside, so I'm not sure exactly how she placed it outside. I would love to see that as well. But for now, let's take a look at what she did with the different rooms. Okay, so here's a much better look at what Awkward Whims created here. At the top section here, you see this old-timey TV, which I love for this. And the walls they used are those like older, kind of worn walls. Gives it a really nice, cozy, like woodsy vibe. We have some beautiful greenery here with the plant. We have the candles. I love the fact that they're using the candles throughout this build. I love the fact that they have the art table here for their crafting bench. That's really fun. This like green couch with the little leaves is perfect. And this little blue Christmas rug, it balances out everything so well. I also like the choice of floor they used here, this very, very dark wood floor. Moving on to the second little section here, we have the hanging pallet bed, which is an amazing choice for this build. And then on the left-hand side, we have a bookshelf. Right-hand side, we have a bookshelf, and then we have this beautiful stained glass ship image, and you can even see an art easel. So Awkward Whims is definitely playing up the artistic vibe here because we had the painting table in the top photo. We have the painting easel right here. There's also the little Wally boot, the only bit of decor we got from the Wally Dream Bundle, and it's a tiny tiny boot with some flowers in it, but this is such a great place to put it, and I really love that they set it on this desk here. We have an old-timey rotary phone as well, and some more greenery. We have another one of these basket plants here, which is really nice. The rug they used under the bed is a great option as well. It really balances the color, so you have the blues and these browns in here that just match the bed perfectly. Like, look at that blue blanket on top of the bed and how we have the blue streaks here in the rug, and then that brown matching with the pallet and the rope is just such a nice touch. It's like everything in this photo is like a mix of like a darker blue and a brown. Well, you also have whites and stuff too, but overall, it's just such a great composition. Like if this was some kind of Dream Snap challenge, this would be like just a top tier submission, I feel. So next we're gonna be looking at the kitchen, and I love what they did here. They did use, now this stuff is in the premium shop with the Mushroom House. And you know what's funny? I just bought that stuff with Moonstones this week. I passed on it every other time, but when it showed up with the Mushroom House, I was like, you know what? That would be perfect for the Mushroom House kitchen. And that seems to be exactly what Awkward Whims thought as well. I love that we have the old-timey like radiator here for heat. We have like the pots and the little pot holders here hanging down. And I just love the exposed white brick and more of that like faded kind of worn white wall here. We have a little window right over this little heating element here. We have the old-timey sink, the old-timey refrigerator. I love how worn and dated everything looks in here, even though the items are like worn and dated items, it still just looks so comfortable. It's just such a fun, cozy, beautiful little home. That's why I wanted to share it, because maybe some of you guys out there are stuck on how to do the interior of your Mushroom Manor. Maybe you don't know exactly what you want to do with it yet, and Awkward Whims can provide some really good ideas from this build. Now, let me see if I think there is one more photo they shared in here. Yep, there is. Okay, let's look at this one too. Oh, it's all one room. Okay, so everything we've seen is from one room. That's crazy. I didn't know that. All right, and now looking at the final photo they shared with us in the Discord, and it's a plot twist because this was all in one room. I would love to see what they've done with the other rooms in the manor, because I feel like this one is, this one room has like everything, you know, it has your like living room area, it has your bedroom area, it has the kitchen. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, when I was looking at the first three photos, I totally thought those were just different rooms in her Mushroom Manor, but it looks like we're just seeing one of the side rooms or one of the back rooms. So I would love to see what else they've done with this like hobbit hole in the Mushroom Manor. It's really beautiful, this first room here. And this first room is just like a 1-bedroom studio with everything you need. Like we were saying, you know, we have this little living room area with the old-timey TV, and now we can also see that they have this little guitar here propped up right against the painting table. We have the candles here. We have the little makeshift kitchen. I can see more pots hanging here, and we can see some of the cabinets we couldn't see earlier that are a little bit higher up. We can also see that they have the hanging pots and pans here in the center of the kitchen, and we have this little like duck, I think that's a bar. I think as far as items go, it's called like a bar sign or something, but it looks really cute in this, and the color tone matches perfectly with everything else she has going on in here. We have the exposed white brick on these two walls, and I'm guessing these two walls, the one we can't see and this one here, are the ones that have that old-timey worn wall there. I do love that she used this wall art here as well. All the wall art she is using has this like dark brown kind of aesthetic, and it just matches really well with everything, especially the flooring that she chose. This piano here on the left-hand side, fun fact, I just got that today. I got that today in Scrooge's shop. I did not have that before, but I don't have the piano bench she used. That's a beautiful piano bench, and it just matches this vibe so much as well. We have another one of those basket plants here, and she has a memory frame photo here with these 2 wall candles as well. Beautiful room. And you know, if you're feeling torn or unsure about what to do inside of your Mushroom Manor, this photo is just such a beautiful example of a very creative way to approach this beautiful new premium house. All right, and with that, we're gonna be looking at our 5th and final build, besides mine, that we'll look at after all of these amazing builds. But we're gonna be looking at our 5th and final build, and the next one is another exterior build, and it blew my mind. Y'all are about to be like absolutely wowed by this. I already know. Now, all of these builds were super impressive and super beautiful, but this next build is a fairy theme, and they did it in the Glade of Trust. So, you know what? I'm just gonna let it speak for itself. We're gonna go ahead and dive into that one right now. All right, so this is the 5th and final Mushroom Manor build we're gonna be looking at, and this was done by Bottled Sky. It was submitted 2 days ago. If you read the post, it said, had my cottage sitting in this spot as a placeholder, but the Mushroom Manor gives the perfect fairyland vibes. So this is an area they already had built up in their valley. They made this beautiful fairyland area, and they had the cottage there before, but they chose to swap that out for the Mushroom Manor, and oh my god, it just created this absolutely beautiful, beautiful scene. As you can tell with this one, this has 725 upvotes in the Dreamlight Valley Reddit. Almost 1,000 people have upvoted this, and I'm sure that number is going to continue to increase because this is so beautiful. This is a really well done build, and I just want to touch on what makes this so special. Now, before we dive into that, I did not find any channels for Bottled Sky, but if any of you guys, or if Bottled Sky sees this video, if you do have any socials related to Dreamlight Valley that you would like to share, please let me know, and I will put those in the video description as well. And also, if you look at Twitch chat right now, everybody is in love with this build. Little Devil said, holy wow, so pretty with the Dreamlight trees. Wow, said Tanny Games. Freaking Emily said, all the colors. I know, that's one of my favorite things about it. It has so many beautiful colors. This is so pretty, says Ashley. Aunt Kimmy says, so beautiful. Oh my god, this is my fave, says Donnie. Yeah, this is a very beautiful submission. And as far as all the submissions we've seen so far, they've all been amazing, but this one definitely stole my heart. So I think it's great. Now let's take a much closer look at it. All right, so here we are taking a much closer look at it. And one of my favorite things was the incorporation of the Dreamlight fruit trees. These trees are just like one of the best things we've ever gotten from Dreamlight Valley. And I don't even like to pick the fruit because I love that red and blue coming off of the Dreamlight fruit. And also the golden orbs and magical particles that like fall from the tree just give this an even more magical vibe. One thing that my chat was talking about was all the colors we can see here, and I would have to agree. This blend of colors is absolutely amazing, and it definitely captures the fairy vibes. Let me go ahead and hide myself so we can see this whole picture and you guys can just take it all in. All right, so as you can see here, we have 2 big Dreamlight fruit trees, one back here in the background, one right here more towards the foreground, and we have purple bushes, we have pink flowers, we have some purple flowers here, and these lights she's using, these are like these little tabletop lights, but the fact that she placed them along her path is so creative. They look so good. I never realized how beautiful these little lights were outside, so I'm definitely going to take some inspiration from this myself. It's gorgeous. She used a lot of different trees here as well. We have this like black and red tree from the Forgotten Lands. We have one of the sinister ferns here. We have some tall green grass here right in front of the pond. We have the glowing lilies. And there's such a beautiful mix of green here as well. Like this is in the glade, so we have like the darker green grass of the glade, but Bottled Sky was sure to also include some of the tall beach grass here as well. And we have some cattails over here. There's a little well by the Mushroom Manor as well. Even this little water bucket right next to the well. And I just love the way she incorporated the rocks along this brick path. And she didn't use the bordered brick path. She used the non-bordered brick path and just lined it with a few rocks and plants to make it look like a much older, kind of overgrown pathway. It just looks like it's slowly being reclaimed by nature, and I think that's one of my favorite things about it. The angle of this shot, the design we see here, all the colors, the beautiful glows we're getting from the lily pads and the flowers and the Dreamlight fruit trees, and from the Mushroom Manor itself. This is just so beautiful. That's why I wanted to save this one for last. When I show you guys mine, it's gonna be super underwhelming underwhelming compared to this because this is just such a beautiful build. I mean, to be fair, I feel like all the ones I shared were better than mine. You know, maybe I'm just like not the biggest fan of my build, but I'll explain my build when we get to it. But yeah, I wanted to share these first, but I still want to share what I've done, even if it's not as good as these. This is just such a fun way to utilize the Mushroom Manor, and if you've wanted to do like a fairy theme, this can definitely give you some really, really fun and unique ideas. Very, very well done to all of the creative people featured here in today's video. And a huge shout out here to Bottled Sky for this amazing fairy build. Absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to see more of these Mushroom Manor builds as time goes on. Now with all that, let's take a look at what I did with my Mushroom Manor and exactly how I came to the decision of doing what I did. So, as I stated earlier, I believe both the Glade of Trust and the Peaceful Meadow are great biomes for this new premium house. Of course, the Forest of Valor is also another great option. When deciding where to put my manor, I chose to go with the Peaceful Meadow, and there were a few reasons for this decision. First off, I'm very happy with the current state of my Glade and really don't want to change it. At this time, it's one of my favorite biomes, and I'd rather not alter the build. Though the Dream Garden in my Peaceful Meadow was definitely overdue for an update, and there were a few places I felt the Mushroom Manor could really complement. Another reason was simply the shade of green that surrounds the Mushroom Manor. My Glade build is designed to be very dark, mysterious, and it contains graveyards and the homes of both Mother Gothel and Ursula. The Mushroom Manor's happy and magical vibe just didn't really fit with my current Glade design. With that said, we've seen the manor work very well for the Glades of other players. One spot in my meadow I've been eager to change was my fruit orchard. I've loved the convenience of having all my fruit trees and bushes in one place, but I did find the layout a little underwhelming, so I decided this would be the manor's new home, and I was hoping it would add some magic to this location. Of course, the Mushroom Manor is a relatively large premium house, so I did have to move some of my trees away from the area. This led me to relocate my banana and coconut trees to the Dazzle Beach biome. After experimenting with the build for a while, I was able to incorporate the manor into this area while still keeping most of my fruit trees and bushes in this corner of the meadow. Once I completed the build, I felt very happy with it, as it felt like a major upgrade to my dream garden. The Mushroom Manor has such a great nature-inspired design, and mushrooms are not uncommon in farmlands and gardens. Aside from the various fruit trees and bushes, I also surrounded the manor with hanging lanterns, vine lamps, tiki torches, and various flora. I kept a fair amount of the meadow's natural grass around the home, but I did choose to line the fruit trees with the bordered muddy path, while the walkway that led up to the manor utilized the bordered clay path. This manor added so much magic to this part of my garden, and I have to say, I like this new premium home far more than I thought I would. One of my favorite features of this new build is the beauty it holds after dusk when the lanterns, torches, and lamps activate. The surrounding lights and the lights of the manor itself put off a beautiful and welcoming glow, which makes harvesting fruit far more enjoyable. My Peaceful Meadow was the second biome I ever decorated, and it makes me happy to see it continue to grow and evolve after all this time. So, what did you think of the Mushroom Manor and all the exciting builds we explored today? Did you purchase this new premium home? And if you did, what are your plans for it? I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider pressing that like button and subscribe for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. I stream Disney Dreamlight Valley live Monday through Friday on my Twitch channel. Be sure to come by if you'd like to see more of my builds or discuss more Dreamlight Valley topics. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and good luck decorating your valley.